I would like to start by playing a game with you. Look around you and see how many blue objects you are able to identify. Now, close your eyes and try to remember all the blue objects that you have spotted. Keeping your eyes closed, here comes the twist. How many yellow objects are there in this auditorium? You may now open your eyes. Was it difficult to remember the yellow objects? Well, that's not surprising because I told you to focus on the blue objects, and you probably forgot about the other objects or most of the other objects in this auditorium. One of the greatest philosophers of all time, you guessed it, Yoda, says that our focus determines our reality. And when we are faced with a problem, we tend to focus on the problem rather than the solution. I know because I once faced the problem of burnout. And I know that I'm not the only one. As a teacher and an entrepreneur, burnout is no stranger to me. Not too long ago, I lay in bed, tossing and turning, struggling to fall asleep. My mind was just overwhelmed with too many thoughts, much like a computer browser with multiple tabs open, refusing to be shut down. In my waking hours, I was like a walking zombie, dreading the tasks that I had to do, barely making it through the day. What made it worse was when I couldn't think of creative ideas for my lessons. I spent so long just brainstorming and thinking, but it was all futile. Nothing came to mind. The harder that I tried, the more frustrated I became. Could I have lost my spark of creativity? What was I going to do? There was no way that I could be a good teacher if I couldn't be creative. So I was talking to a friend of mine and I told her about my problem of burnout, how it was affecting my life and my career. And she just looked me straight in the eye and she said, "Come on, Claudine, you are one of the most creative educators that I know. You'll figure it out." But I just couldn't see the solution, even if it was staring straight at me. I was too embroiled in my problem. And quite frankly, feeling sorry for myself. And then one day, I was watching my primary school students and observing them working on their creative projects. Now, these children come up with the most brilliant and also the most bizarre ideas. They make castles out of marshmallows and they write letters to aliens without batting an eyelid. And the most important thing is they are genuinely having fun. But this is not all random. They are actually using a process, the very same process that I had taught them to harness their creativity. I then wondered, could I use this same process to help me overcome my burnout? This process, called the River Framework, consists of 5 different elements. R, which stands for reflect, I, which stands for ideate, V, which is for visualize, E for express, and lastly, R for revise. Just like a river that keeps flowing amidst the obstacles that it faces, wouldn't it be great if our creative solutions could also flow despite the problems that we are facing? Now, I would like you to think of a problem that you are currently facing. Maybe you are suffering from insomnia, or maybe you are a Gen Z working for a millennial boss, or vice versa. Let's begin with R. Reflect on the problem that you are trying to solve or what it is that you are trying to achieve. Going back to my initial problem of burnout, I isolated myself in a quiet space and I began to write down my problem in the form of a question. How do I solve the problem of burnout? It is important for us to articulate our problems clearly so that we can be intentional about solving them. And if you have difficulty getting to the root of the problem, try asking yourself this question. Why is this a problem? And keep asking it. And I'm pretty sure that you'll find the answer soon enough. Moving on to the second step, which is I for ideate. Come up with as many ideas as you can. Now, I like to actually write my ideas on colorful post-its and paste it on the walls around me. To my surprise, when I don't censor myself, I come up with ideas that I never thought of before. Things like going on a sabbatical, doing something completely different from my day job, or meditating and speaking to other creative professionals. But the thing is, with this idea generation phase, we may tend to second guess ourselves. When an idea starts forming in our minds, we might dismiss it quickly and say, oh, that's a silly idea. That could never work out. And then we get rid of it. But what I've discovered is that when we give ourselves the permission to let our ideas flow freely, no matter how ridiculous or outrageous they may seem, we may actually come up with some amazing discoveries. So give your ideas a chance and you might be pleasantly surprised at what comes up. The next step is to visualize. Visualize your problem being solved. Walt Disney says that if you can dream it, you can do it. So what would your problem be like if it is already solved? For me, I imagine myself in a very zen state, calm and relaxed, surrounded by the people whom I love, laughing, talking, just having a good time. Because I knew that this is what it would look like if I had overcome my burnout. And I just held this image in my mind to motivate myself to change my reality for the better. When you have an inkling of what your solution could be, express it to others and get their feedback. I like to tell my ideas to 3 trusted individuals, my family, my friends, or even professionals who have experience solving the problem. Everyone that you tell is going to have their own opinion, and this might leave you feeling more confused than when you first began. But just remember this, you are in control, you are in the driver's seat, and you have the power to determine which feedback you would like to use. Which brings us to our last step, revise your solution. When I shared my possible solution of seeking help from others, 2 words kept coming up, divide and conquer. And what I took this to mean was to delegate parts of my workload to others, particularly the parts that drain me or that I did not excel in. And what this led to is me deriving a lot more joy from my work and also being less exhausted. Over time, I was not only able to cure my burnout, but I also reignited my passion for teaching. Listening to others' ideas about your solutions might cause you to change your idea a little bit or even overhaul it altogether. Whatever it is, you are one step closer to solving your problem. Now, raise your hands if you think you have a problem that you can solve using the River Framework. Raise your hands. If you have, congratulations. But if you don't, let me share with you one final ingredient, one secret ingredient. Let me tell you the story about jumping off a cliff. So, this is a picture of me in my 20s, which was decades ago, and now you really know how old I am. I took a trip to Krabi with my friends. And in this picture, you can see that my friends had already jumped off the cliff, but I was there alone on top, and I was struggling with fear. People all around me were cheering me on. Jump, 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 they chanted. But I was trembling. I couldn't do it. What if I lose a limb? Or what if I don't survive the fall? Eventually, I was able to silence those fearful thoughts and quite literally took a leap of faith. And boy, am I glad that I did, because it is one of the most awesome, adrenaline pumping experiences in my life. And it opened up a whole new different pathway for me. This picture shows what it looked like after we have jumped off the cliff and moved on to the other side. Harnessing your creativity can seem like a very daunting task, especially when you're new to it or it lies beyond your comfort zone. In fact, it can feel very much like jumping off a cliff. But if you are willing to take the leap, you will reap so many benefits. Newfound ideas, perspectives, new ways of solving problems, and even a whole new different world. So, the next time that you face a problem that seems unsolvable, be brave. Try out the River Framework to switch on your creativity, much like turning on a tap or switching on a light bulb. If you harness your creativity, you could change your reality. Thank you so much.